The next item is number 16, an application for a certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of Manhattan, docket number 16-2840, block 486, lot 2, 64 Wooster Street in the Soho Cast Iron Historic District, a warehouse building designed by E.H. Kendall and built in 1898 to 99. The application is to install flagpoles and banners.
Go ahead and put some up. These first two? She said these two first. This is mine. Yep.
Okay, so good afternoon, Commissioners. Carly Bond, the Preservation staff. This is an application for work at 64 Wooster Street. This is the subject property. It's located in a block between Broome and Spring. This is an application to install 2 flagpoles on the facade located through the stone below the first floor string course. The flagpoles are for a university that occupies a portion of the interior. And Kara Smith from the university would like to introduce the project.
Good afternoon. Thank you for seeing us. We are Glasgow Caledonian University, a 140-year-old university from Scotland and the first university from the UK to be opening a campus in New York. It happens that the motto of the university has been for 140 years, for the common good, and one that we take very seriously. It happens our chancellor is Professor Muhammad Yunus, who is 1 in 7 in the world to have won Nobel Peace Prize, Congressional Gold, and Presidential Medal of Freedom for his work in microfinance and the eradication of poverty. So the motto for the common good is one which runs very deep, and we have a strong social mission. We've asked in particular for 2 flagpoles. Being a Scottish university, of course, we also do UK events. So different flags will be used for different occasions, particularly when we're receiving different people from overseas. In addition, the university focuses on engineering and the built environment, health and life sciences, and business. The business school being called Business for Society. And inside the business school, we have the British School of Fashion, which is a project that focuses primarily on how the business of fashion can be used for sustainable development. We work with the United Nations Sustainable Apparel Coalition and the different fashion industry members in order to understand how the business can be used for positive change. Depending on the events, again, and what we're doing at the school, we will need British School of Fashion and Glasgow Caledonian University, plus the UK or Scottish flags.
And good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Charles Millay, architect, and I'm here with my associate architect, John Villasaka. Our proposal work is for 64 Wooster Street. It is the tallest building on this block of Wooster Street. It is a stone paneled building in this predominantly cast iron district and set of buildings. And our application is for the installation of 2 flagpoles in a brushed aluminum, and we have a sample of that material here, for, as VP Smith had mentioned, the communication of university events.
Okay, yes, Michael?
Are there other flagpoles on this block?
We do not believe that there are, no. I have not seen.
Just out from us, there are one on Wooster Street. There are other flagpoles. Christopher Fisher has a
But not
flagpole.
in this block?
I think Mr. Fisher's on our block, isn't he?
On this side of the block? No.
Well, on this block, on either side of the street?
Don't know.
And are you guys taking the whole building?
We have the main floor and 1 floor below, and depending on how quickly we're able to expand, we would go up another 2 floors.
Is
There are,
signage, like kind of conventional signage in the windows, or?
there is
what new?
conventional signage in the windows. The problem is with so many people coming to events, like this evening we have a town hall event with Warby Parker. We have 150 people in attendance. It's very difficult just with something in the window for folks to be able to see from down the block or away where we are located.
And would one flag do the job of flagging those people coming down the block?
One flag would do the job of showing the university, but would not allow, if we're doing an event, depending on the university, whether it's the British School of Fashion and/or we would be receiving people, like we had the First Minister of Scotland out for a Caledonian lecture this year. So it would be nice to be able to hang a Scottish or a British flag, depending on who we were welcoming, plus the name of the university and/or school of the business that we would be using during the events.
Additionally, we
Could
felt
you-
that,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Additionally, we felt that the design of the building really lent itself to the two flagpoles because of the symmetry of the existing building.
Could you make the flags at least, couldn't it function more like a blade sign or something? So it's just, closer to the building and not so, it seems like it projects into the street by, I think it's 6 feet.
6 feet and it's a 15-foot sidewalk.
Right, but that's a lot. I think some of the questions that are coming out are saying, can you make a smaller flag, or can you do conventional signage, because this is not a street which has a lot of flagpoles?
Yes, we did work with staff to reduce the original proposed size. The bottom of the flag starts at, I believe, 11'6" high and goes up to 19 feet in height to match the decorative panel along the facade.
I think also for us, if it would be possible, it signifies that we're not Band of Outsiders and Celine or a cashmere shop. The weight of...
I'm not sure, okay.
Sorry.
It,
Cashmere flag.
okay.
It just so happens there are so many shops, and the shops have blades, not all of them. Patagonia has a flag, Christopher Fisher does have a flag, even if it's not on our piece of Wooster, but there are those flags higher up on Wooster. So for us to have a blade at the end of a street, which is sort of the lower end of Wooster.
Well, it's just something, couldn't it be just narrower and closer to the wall?
Yeah, it's just not as long.
Yeah, I don't know, something. It could be like that. It could be half the width.
Half the width in terms of the extension from the facade. We had felt from a design point of view that would be lost, as Smith mentioned, at that height and with the proportions of the building. 15-foot deep sidewalk, 5-foot extension. We thought that was a comfortable size visually and proportionally to the building.
Yes, Roberta?
What if you had one flagpole and just changed it for your visitors?
Again,
Because you're asking
our
for two flagpoles.
Sure. Again, our original intent was to work with the symmetry of the building. We do have those two strong plinths, columns that frame the entrance to the building, and they, to our mind, were perfect to be able to have two matching flagpoles that worked with the mission of the university to communicate their mission.
Also because if we were receiving somebody and only would be able to hang a Scottish flag, then we wouldn't be able to hang the name of the school.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
That would be
So you're saying, so it's not that you have a Scottish and an English flag?
Correct.
You would have one flag.
Scottish
you're
and the
changing.
name of the Glasgow Caledonian University, or if we're doing a British School of Fashion
Yeah.
event, we would have a British flag and a British
I
school.
think you have one flag that says something. And
Do they have to be the same
other
size?
sign.
Could the national flag be smaller?
I guess we thought for design and symmetry, they should be the same.
Absolutely, with this very strong symmetrical building, that's why we proposed the two equal-sized flags.
Maybe they're equal in size.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll take testimony. Okay, are there speakers on this item? I think there are. Any speakers? All right, we received Community Board 2's resolution, which recommends denial of this application since the proposed banner and flag serve a branding, but not a preservation purpose, at the same time obscuring the building and detracting from both the building and the district, given their placement on such a narrow street. That's what the Community Board's recommendation is to the Commission. All right, questions, comments? Yes.
Don't have a problem with
Okay.
these flags, so.
Okay. Yes, John?
I just think that they're enormous. I think when you look at the, I can't remember what page this is, but I guess it's Street View Rendering D, and you look at the proportions of the flags relative to the streetscape, they're just enormous. And that's the only thing. I don't mind having the two flagpoles. I don't mind two. I don't mind the purposes. But it just seems they could be somewhat less enormous.
Oh, I agree. I think you should cut it back. And you should make, if it sticks out now 6 feet, it's just about design. I'm looking at the flag itself. It's got a lot of white space. It seems you can design it as something, a thinner flag, and it would work.
I would just say they should just
won't
maybe
so
have
project
a look
out.
at some other flags that run up and down, this area and
Right.
see which ones look too big and make sure this is not that big.
Right, and I'm not convinced about the symmetry. Yes, it's fine if they're two, but we've seen places where we've not made people do, 3 flags just because they're 3 bays. So,
We also actually, I remember like last year, I think, there was an application on, was it on Wooster Street or one of the blocks, the classic blocks in Soho to the south, where someone wanted to, it was an institutional job, it was a school, and we cut it down because we were saying that there were an awful lot of flag applications and that we were trying to do fewer. The flags tend to grow like moss, to make a Scottish analogy.
all right, so the question is really that the 2 flags are a problem, and can you live with 1 flag? It's really because once you do, if you want 2 flags, then I think you have to rethink about the size and shape of this flag, because the 2 together is an issue for us.
It could be centered over the door still. I mean, it wouldn't have to break the symmetry of the building. It just would not be over the pillar, it'd be over the center of the door.
Okay, are we all comfortable with that? Because then we can just make that modification. 1 flag in the center. Any concerns with that? Because that's what we would recommend.
Well, I believe we will work with staff to revisit the design following your recommendations, of course.
Okay, so,
We feel that our concept works, I think, with the design with the existing mission of the university and with the existing shape of the building and to the symmetry of the building, of course. So we would prefer 2 flags. Well, we would also like to revisit maybe diminishing the size of the existing 2 flags, the proposed 2 flags.
okay, if you want to have 2 flags, why don't you show us, you can show us that option then.
Could we give them direction on this size that we?
I think they, I think,
4.5 feet for me.
and
okay,
then
that's,
we can just-
18 inches.
4.5.
I was going to say, okay. I was going to say 3 feet.
I think since we're bringing it back, we could have them show new presentation material to
That's
show what
great.
the size would look like and what the impact,
Okay,
visual
great.
impact would be.
You're right, and I think it'd be helpful if there are other flags in the neighborhood, why don't you take some photographs of those as well and see, okay? All right, we'll bring you back then.
Thank you.